I am Jonathan Archer, and I have never been fond of drama. My father, Austin Archer, often remarked that emotions were a weakness. He was a formidable man who built a company from the ground up, turning it into a fortress. He was unyielding and astute, and I absorbed his teachings quietly and completely, even when I told myself I didn't want to follow in his footsteps. If you had asked me 10 years ago if I believed in fate, I would have said no. Yet here I am, facing an unexpected storm, and in a strange way. I almost feel he predicted this. I married Scarlett in our early 20s. She was full of life and warmth, and I felt lucky to be her partner. We welcomed a daughter named Willow. I invested my time and resources into my family, aiming to be what I thought a good husband and father should be, even as my father's traits lingered within me like a faint echo. 25 years of marriage is a considerable length of time. The arguments, the makeups, the everyday routines. I had no idea how quickly any sense of stability could vanish, or how completely illusions could crumble when one realizes they were always just a step away from losing everything they hold dear. It all began, as many stories do, on an ordinary day. August 27th. I remember it clearly. The heat was stifling. The sun blazed down on the city with an intense glare. Yet inside the office, everything felt under control. I wrapped up a few deals, finished meetings ahead of time, and decided to head home to surprise Scarlett. With our 25th wedding anniversary approaching on September 1st, I was considering a special getaway. Little did I know, I was about to face a confrontation that would shatter the life I had known. As I walked into the kitchen, I saw them. Scarlett stood by the counter, and Willow was seated at the table. They looked as if they had rehearsed their lines, though neither had. "Jonathan, I require change. I have been contemplating what I desire from life. These years have been satisfactory, I suppose. However, I yearn for the opportunity to explore something different." "What do you mean by something different?" I inquired, my voice surprisingly steady. Willow interjected. "Mom desires an open marriage," she stated, her tone nearly jubilant. "And I believe it is an excellent idea. Asterisk, all contemporary couples engage in this. Everyone does, Dad. Physical aspects are inconsequential. Trust is all that is necessary." I turned to my daughter. That last statement regarding trust felt almost offensive. "Are you suggesting that modern couples everywhere are participating in this, truly?" She nodded as if she possessed authority on the subject. "You're so antiquated. Love is no longer solely about physical exclusivity. If you genuinely love one another, you will allow each other freedom." A quiet anger simmered within me, burning in my stomach, yet externally, I maintained a neutral expression. "Scarlett," I said, redirecting my focus to my wife. "Is this how you truly feel?" She bit her lip, her eyes darting across the table. "Jonathan, I simply need change. It is not that. I am unhappy. I am merely bored with this routine, sleeping with the same man. I desire something new." When she articulated it in such a dismissive manner, something twisted within my chest. I felt an impulse to stand and walk away. However, I remained seated, tapping my fingers on the table, a habit from my Army Ranger days. Count, breathe. Do not allow them to witness your breaking point. "So," I said after a pause, "is this your plan? You will date other men, and I." "What will I do?" I asked. "Stay at home and wave goodbye as you leave with them?" Willow scoffed. "Dad's being so dramatic, Dad. You can date as well. No one is preventing you, but let us be honest. It may pose a challenge for you. Just accept that times have changed. You will likely need an app or something, but you can manage it." They began to giggle as if I were a punchline on late-night television. I clasped my hands, exhaled, and inquired, "Is there already someone you have in mind?" "Scarlett." She hesitated. "For a moment, it's James," she said softly. "James Smith. He owns that lovely restaurant on Avenue Street." Willow leaned in, her excitement palpable. "Oh my God, Mom, I adore your taste. He's incredibly handsome. Good for you." Something within me tightened. James, naturally. I had hosted business associates at his establishment numerous times, and now he was seemingly pursuing my wife. Nevertheless, I maintained a steady tone. I see you two have organized this well. So, Willow, are you saying that if James wishes to date your mother, you are perfectly fine with it? She responded with a bright smile. Absolutely. Don't be such a dinosaur, Dad. I chose to remain silent. Standing up from my chair, I moved towards the sink, allowing the silence to linger. They appeared confused by my composure. I finally said, "This is not a trivial issue. You understand that, correct?" She nodded but clenched her jaw. "I have never been more certain of anything," she replied. I turned off the faucet. "All right, I'm on board." I froze, and Willow even smirked as if I had bestowed upon them a gift. "Really? You will agree to an open marriage?" Yes, I replied, but with one condition. "There cannot be conditions," Willow interrupted, crossing her arms. "That's controlling." I set the conditions. I interrupted her, turning to face both of them. "This house is mine, thanks to the prenup, signed with your mother at my father's insistence. If you both desire your open arrangement, that is acceptable. However, I will determine the ground rules for how we coexist in my property. If that is not agreeable, you will need to find another house, another life," I stated firmly. Scarlett's eyes widened, a hint of concern evident. Willow attempted to dismiss it with a laugh. "Dad, this is legally half-Mom's house," but Scarlett raised a hand. "Stop, Willow," she said, her tone subdued. "He is correct. We did sign a prenup. The house belongs to Jonathan." I could feel Willow's tough exterior beginning to crumble. "But you cannot simply evict us." "Are you mad?" I didn't answer. Instead, I walked out, leaving them to stew in the possibility. Later that evening, I hovered outside the kitchen listening to them. Old habits die hard, I suppose. I heard Willow whispering, "See, he'll never actually throw you out. He's bluffing." The love of his life. Scarlett didn't sound convinced. "You don't know your father," she said softly. "He can be downright ruthless when pressed. Remember, he's an ex-Army Ranger. Did you know about everything he did in Afghanistan? I only know half the story, and that's enough to scare me." Willow huffed. "He's not going to do anything. He's just a cranky old man who's in for a shock." "We'll see." In that moment, all I could think about was how they had no idea. I discovered some darkness in me during those military years. Something cold and methodical. I tried to pack that all away under my suits and ties, but they had ignited a fuse. I retreated upstairs and let the household tension sit. The gauntlet had been thrown. Few realized that once you challenged a cornered man, you'd better brace yourself. The next day, I went straight to see Ron Jeremy, my lawyer since college, despite his cheesy name and the jokes it invited. Ron was the sharpest lawyer I'd ever met. I'd confided in him countless times and knew he'd relish a complicated request. When I expressed my desire for a post-nuptial agreement aimed at securing Scarlett's potential claims, he posed a direct question to me. "Why not simply file for divorce?" "Too straightforward?" I replied. "I wish to see how far this situation develops. I want them to face the consequences of requesting an open marriage without me passively accepting it like some pet." He chuckled. "You are more cynical than your father ever was." "Very well, let us examine these terms." I presented my strategy, a robust document that outlined property rights, asset distribution, monthly STD testing, disclaimers regarding children born from outside relationships, and a prohibition on extramarital partners entering my residence. Ron, as he reviewed my notes, emitted a low whistle. "You were aiming for the jugular." "My friend," I recalled my father's stoic demeanor. "I am merely setting the boundaries they profess to desire. Let them reacquaint themselves with reality." 2 days later, we convened in Ron's office. I, Scarlett, Willow, and Scarlett's newly appointed attorney, a tall and graceful woman named Leah. Leah's tense expression intensified with each page. She read. Upon reaching the final section, she forcefully placed the documents on the table. "This stipulates," Leah began, "if Scarlett initiates a divorce while this open marriage agreement is active, She relinquishes all rights to alimony or spousal support. She cannot claim the house. She cannot claim the business, and she is prohibited from bringing any partner into the marital home. This includes James or anyone else. Scarlett frowned deeply. "Jonathan, that is excessive," she remarked, casting a glance in my direction. "No. Support whatsoever? If you abandon me for your new partner," I stated, "why should I fund that arrangement? I am merely enforcing what we agreed upon prior to our marriage. My father's prenup was comprehensive. But this document clarifies the aspects concerning an open arrangement. Additionally, if you are responsible for your own dating expenses, your portion of the household expenses remains my obligation. But your minor extracurricular activities are at your own expense," Willow interjected, her tone sharp. "You are embarrassing her." "Dad, this is revolting." "No," I replied, turning to meet Willow's gaze. "Your mother is entitled to make her own choices. You mentioned that love is not contingent on finances, so I'm confident she can manage a date or two. And if James is as affluent as you assert, he will not allow her to pay for anything, correct?" Scarlett took a slow breath, then, with a forced sense of calm, stated, "Very well, I will sign. Leah, let us proceed to finalize it." Leah grimaced. "It is unconventional, nearly unconscionable." "I am at ease with it," Scarlett maintained, lifting her chin towards me. "He is attempting to intimidate me, but I am not afraid." Willow tightened her arms across her chest and glared. "Mom, are you certain?" Scarlett affirmed. "I am certain." Ron pushed the documents forward, and Scarlett affixed her signature. She regarded me defiantly, as if her pen strokes were a form of rebellion. Part of me almost admired her audacity, yet another part of me questioned how oblivious she was to believe she would retain any genuine advantage in this situation. In the following weeks, I operated on autopilot. At work, I performed my duties as usual, engaging in deals and expansions, attending meetings and making phone calls. But outside, something new stirred within me, a sort of analytical malice. Scarlett wasted no time in organizing her date with James. Willow encouraged her, teasing me for being outdated, even going so far as to openly ridicule me at dinner with, "Hey Dad, you should try Tinder. I heard that even older individuals can find a match or two." I maintained my composure. The day of Scarlett's significant date arrived, prompting me to intentionally orchestrate a complex maneuver of my own, if Scarlett desired. James, the proprietor of an upscale restaurant, then I, in a twist of irony, would explore whether his daughter Maria might be open to some companionship. She was 22, yes. The same age as my daughter, yet also a legal, consenting adult with her own life. We had conversed a few times at different events. Maria was fully aware of my identity, and she harbored a disdain for her father's arrogance. It appeared she was seeking an opportunity to defy him. I reached out, somewhat half serious and half curious, and to my astonishment, she accepted my dinner invitation. On the evening Scarlett was scheduled to meet James, I took Maria to a private event at a luxurious hotel. The occasion was part of a charity fundraiser for veterans, a cause I felt a quiet, personal connection to. I introduced Maria to several associates as my date, and she conducted herself with grace. She was not merely an airheaded college student. She was astute, holding her own in discussions about global finance and the intricacies of managing a business. Onlookers observed us, some in bewilderment, others with smirks, but I remained unfazed. What mattered most was the statement being made if Scarlett and Willow believed I was too outdated to secure a date. I aimed to demonstrate otherwise. It did not take long for news to circulate by the following morning. Willow was vociferously expressing her outrage in the living room. Upon my return home, "You took James's daughter out?" she yelled, her fists clenched at her sides. "What is wrong with you?" I shrugged off my jacket, disregarding her dramatics. "I took a consenting adult to a charity event." I replied calmly. "Your mother spent the night with James in a hotel, correct? Asterisk, she is entitled to do as she wishes. I am equally entitled to do the same." Willow's eyes were ablaze. "You are unwell. She is of my age. I turned to confront my daughter. You assert that age is merely a number when it pertains to your mother, yet it becomes unacceptable when it involves me. An intriguing double standard. She wished to respond, but words failed her. Instead, she exhaled in frustration, pivoting on, her heels and storming away, retreating to her childhood bedroom. Scarlett did not mention it that morning. Although her complexion was pale, I could perceive the tension in her stance. She departed for errands with a forced smile, deliberately avoiding conflict. The next significant confrontation occurred. One weekend in the living room, I was settled in my armchair, perusing the latest financial reports, when Scarlett, with red eyes and fury, marched in. Willow followed closely. Behind, her arms crossed defensively. Scarlett positioned herself before me. I wish to terminate the marriage, she snapped. I've had enough of this nonsense. You are disrespecting me and humiliating me in front of everyone by dating James's daughter. I met her gaze. You desired an open marriage, Scarlett. This is precisely what open entails. She flung a pile of envelopes onto the coffee table. I am finished, Jonathan. I cannot endure my own daughter witnessing my degradation in this manner. I cannot bear to see my husband parading a younger woman. Do you understand? It is humiliating. Let us conclude this farce. I observed Willow nodding. Vigorously, Mother is correct. This was certainly not the intended course of action. You are ridiculing us. I restrained myself from laughing. The strategy, I reiterated. Did you believe you could simply stroll in? Inform me of your affair, and I would remain at home like a convenient ATM funding your adventures while you relish the company of your new partner? Did you think I would not resist? This is not a conflict, Scarlett stated, her voice trembling with a blend of anger and desperation, or at least it was not meant to be. Very well, let us just say, I erred. I no longer desire James. I merely wish to return to the way things were. Is that possible? Can we act as if we never attempted this? No, I replied plainly, crossing my legs. We are not terminating anything. Scarlett's eyes filled with confusion. What do you mean? I stated, no. You requested an open marriage. We possess a postnuptial agreement that stipulates this arrangement remains in effect until we both consent to close it. I do not consent. Thus, the arrangement persists. She stood there, quaking. You are punishing me, she said, her voice faltering. I shrugged. You are the one who requested it. Willow interjected. Dad, come on, she said. She doesn't want it anymore. Be reasonable. Did you never love Mom at all? My gaze flicked to Willow. A rush of frustration surged within me, bitter and heavy. Do you think love is a one-way street? Where was your mother's? Love when she requested to degrade me, essentially to publicly humiliate me with her lover. Did either of you ever consider my feelings? They stared, unable to respond. I grabbed my wallet, stood up, and walked to the foyer. I'm heading out, I announced. Don't wait up. I have a date. Scarlett's expression fell. Willow merely gawked as if she wanted to hurl insults, yet no words emerged. I departed the echo of the front door slamming, marking my exit. 2 days after that confrontation, Willow attempted to interfere once more. She trapped me in the hallway before breakfast. Mom is in tears every night. She's miserable. I marched toward the kitchen. Calm, miserable because her plan backfired. Are you suggesting that you're concerned about her mental health? Or are you just upset that you have to witness it? Both, Willow declared defiantly, stepping into my path. Dad, just stop messing around with Maria. If you wish to keep the marriage intact, then behave accordingly. Or if you want a divorce, her, then do it. However, do not subject Mother to such torment. I walked past her, disregarding the intense anger swelling within me. You were not opposed to the notion of my suffering initially, were you? Or did it bring you joy to envision your father losing his dignity while you supported your mother? She recoiled. That is unjust. It was a matter of empowerment. Spare me. I retorted sharply. I am finished covering for your absurdities. Speaking of which, how is that car lease? Isn't it about to expire soon? Who is responsible for the extension? She looked troubled, as if the sudden shift in topic had taken her by surprise. You know, I lack the funds, Dad. Then you had better resolve it, I replied. For I am done paying for you. The same applies to your outrageous credit card debt and college fees. Get a job or find another benefactor, perhaps James, or your mother's new acquaintances. They might be generous, who knows? Her complexion drained of color. Are you serious? Cannot simply sever ties with me? I am your daughter. I gently placed my coffee mug down. You chose your mother's side, which is acceptable. Now you must face the repercussions of that. Her teeth gritted in frustration. Are you going to force me to plead? Try working, I said icily. Have you ever heard of that? She stormed out, tears welling in her eyes, yelling, You are a monster, as she vanished down the corridor. 2. Additional weeks dragged on. Willow's expenses accumulated. She had that leased car. Her increasing college debts and no consistent employment. Her days were spent texting friends, hoping for a miracle. Perhaps she anticipated that I would relent. Ultimately, the situation escalated. One afternoon, I came home from work to discover Willow on my doorstep, tears of anger marking her cheeks. I received a letter stating they are going to take the car back. She spat, thrusting a piece of paper towards me. You cannot do this. I require my car. I cannot simply skip class or arrive somewhere on a bus like a failure. I exhaled, moved past her, and unlocked the front door. If you are too proud to take a bus, that is your issue. She trailed me inside, gesturing Nina. Why, Dad, you were always the one who claimed you would support me, that I wouldn't. Have to stress about finances during college? Are you truly going to go back on your promise? Frowning, I faced her. My stipulation for covering your expenses was that you at least show me some respect. Instead, you and your mother attempted to belittle me. So yes, I am retracting my offer. If you cannot cope with the new reality, you are welcome to leave. I cannot cover any of these debts, she protested. I have like $300 in my bank account. I made my way to the living room. Not my concern. Ask your mother's lover. Perhaps James can write you a check. Or maybe one of your mother's future partners. Willow gasped in disbelief. That is harsh. I offered her a cold, tight smile. I am merely adhering to your reasoning, dear daughter. Mom's free, you are free. Is everyone modern these days? Isn't that what you desired? She struck the arm of the couch in exasperation. Why are you acting so unpleasant? Yes, please elaborate, remarked a new voice. It was Scarlett, emerging from the hallway. Her demeanor was tense. She had her arms crossed over her chest, glancing at Willow, then at me. Why are you punishing both of us in this manner? I turned to my spouse. I am not punishing anyone. I am merely refraining from rewarding disloyalty. Scarlett's gaze shifted to Willow, who was on the brink of tears. She softened her voice. Will, dear, please go upstairs. I will speak with him. Willow shot me one last glare, then stormed off. Angrily brushing past her mother, Scarlett waited until she had left, then confronted me directly. Jonathan, that is enough. You have made your point. This entire open marriage situation was a dreadful idea. But now you are simply being cruel. She is your daughter. She is young. And she does not comprehend what she has gotten herself into. I shrugged. She is old enough. To provoke you into an affair, she is old enough to face the repercussions. Scarlett clenched her fists. Listen, if that is how you wish to manage Willow, fine. But you and I, can we converse in a civil manner? I am. She paused to swallow. I am finished with James. Is that clear? He turned out to be a smooth-talking scoundrel. He has already distanced himself. Cancelled the last few dates, in fact. You achieved what you wanted. I am humiliated. But can we put an end to this madness now? Stop it. How? I inquired. Close the marriage? Let us... Let us attempt to return to a previous state, or at least establish a new normal, devoid of random dates, or unnecessary drama, I will sign anything. My jaw tightened. 2 weeks ago, you made that same request. And I declined, so what makes you believe that anything has changed? Tears shimmered in her eyes. Because I can no longer endure this, she nearly yelled, her voice breaking. I cannot bear to see you with Maria. She is the same age as my daughter. The thought of you being intimate with her is tormenting me. Let us just be a couple again, even if it is not ideal. I gazed at her. No, you open this door, and you must keep it ajar. We have surpassed the point of no return. She collapsed onto the couch, hiding her face in her hands. You are so filled with hatred now, she murmured. Where is the man I wed? That man perished the day you requested an open marriage, I replied, my voice devoid of compassion, and I turned away. A month went by. Willow, frustrated with my unwillingness to support her lifestyle, moved out. She stayed with friends, but it was tumultuous. Scarlett, left behind, sank deeper into despair. She spent her days in disarray, wandering the house as if searching for something. Occasionally, I would catch her going through old photographs, tears silently streaming down her cheeks. One day she confronted me on the back porch. Her eyes were red and swollen. Jonathan, I need to share something with you. I have been visiting doctors, she spoke softly. I've not been feeling well. I raised an eyebrow, observing how much weight she had lost. The bones of her shoulders protruded in ways they had not previously. Daughters, she acknowledged, inhaling a shaky breath. I tested positive for an STD, she confessed, her face flushing. I contracted it from James. I never imagined he would. Regardless, I am on medication. It is treatable, but it is humiliating. So I hope you feel satisfied. You achieved your revenge. Something within me stirred, a mix of guilt and pity. I could not tell which it was, yet my tone remained steady. I'm not happy, Scarlett. This is all a result of your decision. Do you believe I orchestrated this? No. You requested an open marriage. I agreed. Then you immediately went to bed with the first man who captivated you. A tear rolled down her face. She angrily wiped it away. I understand you despise me. I just hope you are being cautious with your affair, as STDs are serious matters. I focused on the fence, on the horizon beyond. Anything but her gaze. Maria is not merely a fling, but I appreciate your concern. She looked at me, her voice trembling. You are a monster, I remarked, remaining silent. She spun around and left me solitary on the porch. I lingered there for quite some time, allowing the autumn breeze to envelop me. A part of me experienced a slight sense of pity for her, for the struggles she was enduring. Another part simply repeated the same old refrain. She brought this upon herself. 3 weeks later, tensions flared up once more. Willow unexpectedly returned to the house, furious and frantic, forcefully shutting the door behind her. I was in the kitchen, perusing emails when she stormed in. I have overdue loans, she exclaimed, her voice quaking. With rage, I cannot manage them. Dad, you must pay them off. I kept my focus on my phone. I do not need to do anything, I responded. I told you, I am no longer your personal piggy bank. Her eyes scanned the room. Mom is too financially strained to assist. She barely manages to cover her own expenses, let alone mine. That jerk James has vanished. She cannot even reach out to him for help. Where am I supposed to turn? I placed my phone down and met her gaze. You are an adult now. Figure it out, she hissed. You would allow your own daughter to be crushed by debt. You would jeopardize my credit, my future, simply because you are harboring a grudge. No, I replied. It is you who has damaged your credit. You who chose your mother's side, mocking me, as if I were some outdated artifact. Well, I suppose that artifact no longer wishes to fund your lifestyle. She stormed toward me as if she wanted to physically lash out, but then Jonathan, I tensed, ready to defend. Don't provoke me, I cautioned, my voice subdued. I have shown a lot of patience towards you, if you want. You can go ask your mother's lover for a financial rescue or seek alternative employment in addition to the half-hearted efforts you've undertaken thus far. If your friends won't lend you money, that's also not my problem. Fine, she spat. I'll remember this. When you're old and need someone to take care of you, don't anticipate me to do anything. I arched a brow. I'm not worried. I am fully capable of funding my own retirement. She gazed, breathing heavily, then spun around and ran away. I could hear her angry footsteps reverberating down the corridor. Approximately 5 minutes after that, I heard the front door shut forcefully. She had disappeared once more, leaving me in a quiet home. In the following weeks, the series of sorrow around me was obvious. Scarlett continued to lose weight and appeared to be physically exhausted. She rarely left the house. When she did, she drifted in and out like a wraith of her former self. Occasionally, she would gather some minor requests to make to me. Can we talk, or Jonathan, please? Can I fix us dinner so we can discuss everything? I never gave in. My focus had turned to Maria. Originally, my relationship with Hit had been an act of rebellion, but at some point, true fondness developed. She was ambitious, developing a portfolio as a fashion model. We shared a laugh about how complicated our relationship had become. Her dad had been in a relationship with my spouse. Here we stood, creating something authentic amidst that turmoil. I discovered that I was at ease in her company in a manner I had never experienced before. With Scarlett, not in years, she was friendly, yet also straightforward. She inquired about Afghanistan once, and for the first time in years, I had shared with someone what I had experienced there, how it had affected me. She listened without judgment. She never leveraged my history or my weaknesses against me. One evening, as she quietly announced while sipping wine in her apartment, I'm expecting, and at that instant, it felt like the whole universe came to a standstill. How far along? I inquired, my heart tightening. Approximately 8 weeks, she remarked, examining my expression. You're the father. Obviously, I want to keep it, a whirlwind of feelings overwhelmed me. Surprise, anxiety, a spark of happiness, a twinge of remorse. You're absolutely sure? She nodded, eyes shining. Yes, I didn't anticipate this, but I'm prepared. And I trust you are as well. I found myself exerting to stay composed, the manner in which my father instructed me. But at that moment, I understood that I desired. This child, part of me wanted to do fatherhood correct this time around without the resentment of a broken home. All right. I said finally, okay, Maria, we'll work it out. She exhaled as though relieved. Thank you. I understand it's challenging. But I have no desire to flee. I've never meant for this to be simply retribution against my father. That mention of James made me stiffen, but I put it away and pressed my lips to her forehead. Let's not talk about him. Let's focus on ourselves. On the baby. When I next went home, Scarlett was present in the lounge, slouched on the sofa, gazing vacantly at reality television. She silenced the program the instant I entered. Where have you been? She inquired, her tone flat. With Maria, I answered, heading for the stairs. Jonathan? She inquired, her tone changing. I apologize for all that has occurred. However, can we at least discuss the subsequent actions? Can we close this marriage or submit for divorcios? I can move on. Can't stand the limbo. I stopped on the stairs, looking back. If we separate, you lose it all. You leave with almost nothing. She gave a tired nod. I understand. But perhaps that is preferable to existing in this manner. I looked at her closely. She looked worn truly. Her hair had lost its glow. Her face was haggard, and her eyes were bordered with dark shadows. For a split second, I pictured the Scarlett I married decades ago, and a twinge of sorrow fused within me. Yet it was brief. We'll discuss it, I remarked calmly, and ascended the stairs. 2 months later, Blia delivered her baby ahead of schedulito, a baby boy. We chose the name Kevin. That whirlwind of fresh parenting engulfed me, diminishing any remaining reflections. On Scarlett or Willow, I found myself with revitalized intention, stepping a route from the office more frequently. delegating responsibility to my higher-ups, concentrating on Maria and the kid. I proposed soon after Kevin was born. Desiring him to experience a secure family environment, Maria accepted. We held a modest ceremony in private after I emphasized the need to sign a new prenup. A portion of me laughed at the thought that I was becoming like my father. Another segment acknowledged that the elder was correct about protecting what matters. Still, I couldn't completely overlook Scarlett. She called me late one night, sounding out of sorts. "Jonathan," she murmured, her tone trembling. "I believe I erred. I would like to visit you. I'm not feeling well. I need you to." I stopped her. "Call your parents, Scarlett. Or call an ambulance if it's a medical emergency. I have an infant to look after. I'm not your savior anymore." She fell quiet for a complete 5 seconds. And then I listened to her fall apart. "I dislike you," she remarked, filled with tears. She hung up. That was the final occasion we communicated directly by phone. I submitted a divorce petition a couple of weeks afterward. I taged Ron to hasten it discreetly. No fuss or long battles. He completed the task with a detached precision. Scarlett signed the papers without a fight. Perhaps relieved, she disappeared soon after, presumably to her relative's home, though I didn't ask. I Davy introduced myself to Maria and Kevin, creating a fresh narrative from the debris. Willow. I found out through brief rumor that she'd taken a job at a quick-service restaurant, grilling patties. One afternoon, I scrounged by that identical McDonald's. Mostly out of curiosity, I didn't attempt to converse with her. She didn't notice me. She was rushing between the kitchen and the serving area, hair pulled back, face reddened. But she appeared fine, fitter than the previous time. I encountered her. Maybe working for a living was teaching her what it signified to be independent. I exited with my meal in hand, remaining silent. I felt oddly pleased she was finally gaining knowledge, some responsibility, however. The divide between us remained significant. I allowed her to choose whichever path she wished to follow. 5 years passed. Kevin was a joyful kid, bounding around the house. Maria and I enjoyed a secure existence. I never attempted to reach out to Scarlett or Willow. A portion of me desired resolution. Another part was too established in the new reality to dwell on. Old regrets, at times via casual encounters or limited updates. I heard that Willow had secured a different position, that she was leasing a tiny flat, slowly paying off loans. Fine. No need for me to get involved. She decided a long time ago. Opposition to my finances was precisely what she required. One Sunday morning, the telephone rang. I'd been in the living room, helping Kevin organize his art supplies. Maria was outside savoring coffee in the gentle sunlight. The caller, startled me. Scarlett's father. We hadn't communicated since the divorce was completed. I picked up hello. A few seconds of silence, then his voice emerged softly. "Jonathan," he said quietly. "Scarlett passed away last night." I experienced a sudden jolt in my chest. How? I managed. She was living with us, but her health had been deteriorating for some time. The illness she contracted from that partner, James, never fully went away. Complications. She spent several months frequently entering and exiting the hospital. Last night he trailed off, voice trembling. She didn't wake up. I stood there, phone clutched tightly, my throat tight. I finally managed to say, "I'm sorry for your loss." Words insufficient for such a definitive conclusion. Are you okay?" He paused, exhaling audibly. "We'll manage. I simply felt it was important for you to be aware." I nodded, even though he was unable to see me. "Thank you for telling me." He didn't say anything else. Tired exhale, and then the call connected. I placed the phone down, gazing at the empty display. Kevin was in the middle of meticulously coloring a paper airplane. Maria, out in the garden, was softly buzzing, sipping coffee. In the sunlight, I thought of Scarlett's final days, of her gradual decline, of the sorrow and the remorse. How often she must have uttered my name in frustration or grief. A whirlwind of opposing feelings struck me. Pity, relief, regret, bitterness. But primarily I sensed the burden of permanence that once specific boundaries are surpassed. There's no returning. I set the phone aside and softly tousled Kevin's hair. He gazed at me with shining eyes. "Dad, may I show you something?" "Of course," I replied, managing a slight smile. "Show me."